They told you that poverty was the enemy. They told you that if you could just hit that six-figure mark, if you could just see that comma in your bank account, the noise in your head would stop. They lied. Money doesn't silence the demons, it feeds them. There is a dark side to financial ascension that no guru talks about. It is the psychological tax of wealth. The higher you climb, the thinner the air gets, and the easier it is to suffocate. Welcome to the Wealth Archives. Formerly Lex Money, we have evolved, because teaching you how to make money is irresponsible if I don't teach you how to survive it. Today, we are opening the file on the dark psychology of success. Most financial channels sell you a dream. They sell you the destination, but they rarely discuss the psychological toll of the journey. We treat the human mind like a calculator: input money, output happiness. But biology is not mathematics. Biology is messy, primal, and often terrified. I have spent years analyzing the intersection of capital and consciousness, and what I have found is a pattern, a distinct, repeatable pathology that strikes high achievers. It doesn't matter if you are an entrepreneur hitting your first 100K or a veteran CEO managing millions. The symptoms are the same. We are going to dissect 5 specific psychological pillars today. These are the traps set by your own evolution. First, the success trap: why reaching your goals often triggers a depressive episode. Second, the fear of loss, the paralysis that sets in when you finally have something to lose. Third, status anxiety, the disease of the fake rich. Fourth, imposter syndrome, the feeling that you are a fraud despite the evidence. And finally, dopamine addiction, the biological hijacking of your brain's reward system. This is not a motivational speech. This is a diagnosis. If you are building wealth, or if you aspire to, you are walking into a minefield. Most people blow themselves up before they ever enjoy the spoils of war. To survive, you must understand the enemy, and in this case, the enemy is inside your skull. Let's open the first file. Section 1. The Success Trap, the Arrival Fallacy. There is a specific moment that breaks people. It isn't the failure, it's the victory. Picture this. You have spent 3 years grinding. You sacrificed your weekends. You alienated your friends. You lived on caffeine and anxiety. Your goal was clear: $100,000 in liquid cash. It was the holy grail. You convinced yourself that once you hit that number, the struggle would end. Then it happens. The notification hits your phone. You stare at it. You feel a rush of endorphins that lasts approximately 3 minutes. And then, silence. A profound, echoing silence. Psychologists call this the arrival fallacy. It is the delusion that reaching a destination will sustain permanent happiness. But the human brain is not designed for contentment. It is designed for adaptation. This is the hedonic treadmill. No matter how fast you run or how much you accumulate, your emotional baseline resets. When you hit that first 100K, you expect a fanfare. Instead, you're left with the realization that you are the same person, with the same insecurities, just in a more expensive room. This is where the mental health crisis begins for many young entrepreneurs. You stripped away your coping mechanisms to get rich, thinking the money would replace them. It didn't. The danger here is goalpost shifting. The moment you secure the bag, your brain instantly devalues it. 100K is no longer impressive. Now you need $500,000, then $1 million. You are running a race where the finish line recedes at the exact speed you run toward it. This leads to a unique form of burnout. It's not the burnout of exhaustion, it's the burnout of futility. You ask yourself, is this it? And the terrifying answer is, yes, this is it. If you cannot find peace at 0, you will not find it at $1 million. You will only find amplification. Money is a magnifying glass. If you are anxious and broke, money makes you paranoid and wealthy. If you are lonely and broke, money makes you isolated and wealthy. The success trap convinces you that your internal problems have external solutions. It is the greatest lie of capitalism. We are taught to externalize our self-worth, but when the external world validates you and you still feel hollow, the cognitive dissonance is enough to shatter your psyche. You have the prize, but you don't have the peace, and that realization is heavier than poverty. Section 2. The fear of loss, the psychology of zero. Let's move deeper. Once you have acquired the wealth, a new predator enters the room. It is the fear of loss. In psychology, this is known as loss aversion. Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky proved that the pain of losing money is psychologically twice as powerful as the pleasure of gaining it. Think about that ratio, 2 to 1. To offset the pain of losing $10,000, you would need to gain $20,000 just to feel emotionally neutral. This creates a paralyzing conservatism. When you had nothing, you were dangerous. You took risks. You had nothing to lose. That phrase is freedom. But now you have everything to lose. The psychology of zero haunts you. Even if you have millions in the bank, your amygdala, the lizard brain responsible for fear, is constantly scanning for threats. A market correction isn't just a graph going down. It feels like a physical assault. I call this the fortress mentality. You stop trying to grow and start trying to defend. You build walls. You stop trusting people. Every handshake feels like a potential theft. Every pitch deck looks like a scam. You become the dragon sleeping on the gold, never spending it, never enjoying it, just guarding it. This fear of loss manifests physically. High cortisol levels, sleep deprivation, the constant checking of the portfolio app at 3 a.m. You are technically free, financially speaking, but you are enslaved by the terror of returning to where you started. There is a tragic irony here. The skills required to get rich, aggression, risk-taking, optimism, are the exact opposite of the skills required to stay rich, caution, skepticism, pessimism. You have to rewire your entire personality. If you don't, the anxiety will consume you. You will become the richest man in the graveyard of your own making. The fear of loss creates a scarcity mindset in the midst of abundance. You see this in multimillionaires who haggle over a $5 coffee. It's not about the coffee, it's about control. It's about the terrifying realization that entropy is the law of the universe. Things fall apart, money flows away, and no amount of zeros in a database can truly protect you from the chaos of the world. Section 3. Status anxiety, the fake rich disease. If fear of loss is the internal battle, status anxiety is the external war. This is the fake rich disease. We live in an era of performative wealth. We don't just want to be successful, we want to be seen as successful, and this desire is a bottomless pit. Alain de Botton wrote extensively on this. Status anxiety is the worry that we are currently occupying too low a rung on the social ladder. In the past, you only compared yourself to your neighbors. If you had a better cow than the farmer next door, you were winning. Today, you're comparing yourself to the curated highlight reel of a 19-year-old crypto billionaire in Dubai. This comparison triggers a biological response. When you perceive yourself as lower status, serotonin levels drop. You feel physical pain. To medicate this pain, you engage in signaling. You buy the Rolex. You lease the G-Wagon. You buy the table at the club. But here is the trap. You aren't buying luxury. You are buying an apology for your own insecurity. You are buying a shield to protect your ego. The fake rich are drowning in debt to maintain an illusion for people they don't even like. It creates a dissonance. You look rich, but you feel poor. You are living paycheck to paycheck on a $300,000 income because the overhead of your ego is too high. This is the keeping up with the Joneses phenomenon on steroids, but the Joneses are broke too. Everyone is bluffing. It's a poker game where everyone is all in with empty hands. True wealth is quiet. True wealth doesn't need to scream because it has nothing to prove. But status anxiety whispers in your ear that you are not enough. It tells you that your net worth is your self-worth. And if you believe that, you will never have enough money, because there is always a bigger boat. There is always a faster jet. When you tie your identity to your assets, you become vulnerable. If the market crashes, you don't just lose money, you lose yourself. You lose your name. You become a ghost in your own life. Section 4. Imposter Syndrome, the Fraud Complex. Let's talk about the secret that 70% of high achievers share but never speak aloud. Imposter syndrome. You hit 50K a month. You